Hi, good evening. Welcome in. This is Main Event Fantasy. It is Saturday night, um, and I'm hoping we can do some best ball drafting tonight. I was on earlier on Underdog, and there was a little bit of lag going on, which never happens. So I'm hoping that we don't have any issues tonight. So welcome for anybody who has not been on here before. My name's Nick, aka Perfect 216, and this is Main Event Fantasy. We do drafting live on Underdog Fantasy. It is our favorite place to draft. These are best ball drafts, which means there's no time commitment during the regular season. You draft your team, and the best players play. So you don't no trades, no waiver wires, no having to argue over what was the best deal with your buddies. You can do that in your regular redraft leagues. Here, it's all about drafting your team and trying to make the best judgment calls to win some money and having a good time doing it. So if you love drafting fantasy football teams, this is the place to do it. This is my favorite place to do it. I have drafted over 400 teams already this year, and I plan to draft probably about 400 more before the start of the regular season. So we're going to try tonight and get into a Best Ball Mania draft. So with Best Ball Mania, it is the largest fantasy football tournament in the world. $25 entry, 672,672 entrants will be in this contest. It is $2 million to first place, $1 million to second, $500,000 to third, and so on. And even if you get 112,000, 112th place, you're still getting your money back. And then there's plenty of things in between. How it works is you get into a pod, and weeks 1 through 14 is the first, pod. If you advance through there, you get into the second quarterfinals, which is week 15. Semifinals is week 16, and then championship week is week 17, where all the magic happens. So we're going to try and get into a Best Ball Mania draft, and I hope you guys are enjoying your evening. Let's see what happens tonight. And then as we're doing this, if all goes well, we've been doing a breakdown of the last few nights of the all the different divisions. I haven't done this before like this, so we're doing divisional breakdowns and my takes on players in each of those teams in the division. So tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about the AFC. Did I say South? AFC South teams. So AFC South consisting of Houston Texans, Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. So should be fun, kind of diving into some of this. So let me pull up a couple things here, and then we'll kind of get on into that while we're waiting for this draft to fill. And I'm really, really hoping that we don't have any issues with our drafting tonight. But you never know. And actually, just in case, let me set my phone up for success here. So in case I need to do something in the background, we'll do it. And actually, it does look like we're having an issue here. There it goes. So we may have to do some refreshing. We have to do some queuing up to make sure we stay okay in these drafts. We don't want to take a chance that something happens, it times out. So we're going to make sure we queue up players in order. So as we continue to do refreshing, we make sure that we get our players. So we're going to get Saquon Barkley here at the 104. And we will feel good about it. So it's been doing this weird thing all night long, and I apologize in advance for what's happening. Not a good look. So while we're waiting, real quick, let's flip on over. If we look at the AFC South, the Houston Texans, will start there. We got C.J. Stroud as our quarterback, running back Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce, Woody Marks. It is important to know, I think, that Woody Marks is right now considered fourth behind Dameon Pierce, and a lot of people are still picking him, and I get it. But the guy I want on this team is Nick Chubb. Talk about more than a second. Wide receiver Nico Collins, Christian Kirk at the 2 right now. Tank Dell is out. Jaden Higgins, who was just drafted, Jalen Noel, who was just drafted, and I think these are kind of the names you can talk about. And then Dalton Schultz at tight end. So we'll talk a little bit more about each of them as we progress here tonight. It's going to be a little bit painful, and if we do lag the whole time, what we'll probably end up doing is we'll just do one draft tonight if it's going to lag, which, trying to make sure you guys don't think I'm crazy, but it is not done this in my 4 years that I've been drafting an underdog. I've never had it where it's lagging like this, meaning to say you have to continue to like refresh your drafts and stuff. Just not really happened to me before. So, but hey, everybody has an issue sometimes, right? So we may just have to continue to refresh. Number one, like, just subscribe. Good luck with your new channel. Hey, I appreciate it, Fantasy Dog. Yeah, I've only been doing this for a few weeks now, trying to get a little bit better as I go. I've seen other streamers doing this, and it's something that kind of got me addicted, and I'm going to continue to do it. I'm trying to do it every night, probably between 10 p.m. and midnight. We'll cut up some guys just in case we get caught here. And I really, really have enjoyed doing this. I've won some money doing this, but I really do it for fun. And if I can help somebody, then hey, then it's even more worth it for me. Because I'm going to do this whether I stream it or not, right? So let's hope we have a good time. Actually, fun fact. So I learned how to add a thumbnail to my YouTube videos today. So I started putting a couple of those on, and it's like the little things, right, that get you excited. So yeah, I did the same thing too. So I drafted, I think 3 or 4 teams today, while I had the kids today, and we were watching SummerSlam, WWE SummerSlam today. And I drafted a few teams while I was watching that, and it was fine all day long. And then I'm literally getting ready to stream, and another guy I know that I watch who was streaming earlier was having the same problem, and he ended up just stopping early. So it's just kind of disappointing. I'm sure they'll fix it. My guess would be by the time morning comes around, everything will be working fine. It's just probably just a moment in time. So I won't lose sleep over it. Now I will lose sleep over it if we don't pay attention, right, and we end up getting caught in drafts. So that we're gonna just have to queue some people up, make sure we don't get, I don't want to say screwed here, but so we don't get screwed. So I apologize with all the refreshing, but it's the only way I know that I'm going to be okay. So it looks like we're getting Tyreek Hill. The refreshing is going to get really annoying for you guys, and I apologize. So just to kind of get into Houston Texans depth chart. So CJ Stroud, I'll be really quick on this one. He had a little bit of a down year after his rookie year. I'm in on CJ Stroud with where he goes in drafts. I think he's a fine pick. I don't think anybody should be really that concerned about him. He's got more weapons now. I'm not saying I'm going out of my way to draft him, but I have no problem grabbing him where he goes. Let's just queue up some guys. Just trying to protect myself here. Running back. So I love what's happened. So let me back up before I say this. I don't want to say I love what's happened, because that would mean that I like injuries, and I don't. You never want anyone. You don't wish the worst on anyone from an injury standpoint. But so Joe Mixon was a guy I wasn't drafting earlier, and I've been drafting since April, and wasn't getting any of him. And then all of a sudden he goes down. I was getting Nick Chubb when he got signed in like round 18, and I got a bunch of them. And now all of a sudden Nick Chubb's climbing. He's probably going to be, have a bigger role than we realize. And Joe Mixon is, going to be a little bit of a struggle here. Marvin Harrison, perfect. So if you're new to this channel and you haven't seen anything, I do have a My Guys video for running back and wide receiver for this year. And Marvin Harrison is my guy. Like, not saying that he's the best player in the draft. What I'm saying is where he goes in drafts, he is my favorite click. So I will be overweight on him for sure. So I'm happy about grabbing him here. Feels like a good start. So just jumping back to the Texans for a second. So I'm happy with I'm not happy Mixon's hurt, but I'll still take him when he gets closer to pick 100 now. And that's a fine place to risk because now you're getting him as your running back 3 or running back 4. The risk is a lot lower. Wide receivers. So I'll mix in the wide receivers with Houston, but unfortunately for me, I guess for Houston, when I look at the receivers in the back of the first round, I see Malik Neighbors as being ahead of Puka, ahead of Nico. I just value him a little higher. And I'm fine mixing in Nico, Amon-Ra, but, Brian Thomas. So I mix these guys up, A.J. Brown, Drake London, all of them in the first and second round. And so I'm not going to be overweight Nico. I'm not huge on him. I think that he's a talented wide receiver, will have plenty of volume, but he's just not my favorite click. I don't see the upside with him that I do with others. And I might be in the minority here, and I'm okay with that. Everybody's got to have their takes. Last year, he had 2 weeks where he was a top 5 wide receiver. And then he had one other week where he was a top 10. And then he had a top 12 finish, top 13 finish. And other than that, that's it. So now he wasn't healthy. So he was the 23rd ranked wide receiver last year based on PPR scoring. The year before that, he was 12th. He's never played a full season healthy. I just don't think you can take a guy like that in the first round and be aggressive about it. So I don't intend to draft a ton of Nico Collins. Now, Jaden Higgins, where he goes in drafts, I like getting him there. He's a rookie. I like playing rookies. Jalen Knowles really late in drafts. If I have CJ Stroud, I will add him in for a stack. And then Christian Kirk, I have no problem getting him where he goes. So I like the value on the receivers for the Houston Texans other than Nico Collins. That's just kind of where I'm at. And I'm okay getting burned if that's what ends up happening to me. Hopefully I don't, but if it happens, it happens. All right, let me queue up some guys here before I get caught. Let's see. If he comes to me at 35, I'll do it, but otherwise, I think I'm going to try and do this. I'm hoping that this freezing thing gets fixed while we're streaming because that would be absolutely epic. I guess I should just in case queue up somebody else too, right? Yeah, of course. Hurts does go, so that makes sense. It's going to change my plans here. It's funny. So I had the draft kind of pull up on my phone, and it keeps notifying me that I'm up, and it drives me nuts. All right, 6 picks away. Once we get through here, we'll jump into our next AFC South team for tonight and kind of talk about those guys. And if you have questions, whether it's an AFC South team just in general, or if you even have player takes in your own you want to share, I'm all in. I'm not perfect. I've done really well. I've been drafting teams for years, 4 years for Underdog and Best Ball, but I've done really well in general with this. I've been profitable over $10,000 every year since I've been doing this. And so I'm hoping to continue that, that string of winning. And I do find myself doing a lot of research preseason. I will look back at prior seasons, do some data gathering on players. I have certain players I like their archetypes of. I do look at week 17, the playoff correlations, all of those things are things that I take into consideration with my teams. So I try to draft with facts, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I'm not just out here clicking guys for no reason. So we've started Saquon Barkley as our anchor running back and then 4 wide receivers, which makes me feel really good about the style of drafting. If you look back, I do have a favorite draft strategy video where I reveal my top 5 draft strategies for this season. I kind of compare 2023, what worked, what didn't, how that changed for 2024, what worked and what didn't, and then what formed my opinions of what I want to do in 2025. And my favorite strategy is the anchor RB strategy. And so following up with a wide receiver avalanche. So this start plays out really good for us. So real quick, while we're waiting, let me jump over here. So we went over the Texans. Let's just click over to the Colts. This is a depth chart that's a little bit of fun to look at, depending on your opinion. Right now, it's showing Anthony Richardson as the starter, but we know they're competing with Daniel Jones, so who knows what that's going to look like. I still believe they're going to want Anthony Richardson. He's younger, more athletic. They'd rather him be the guy, better arm. Jonathan Taylor at running back. You have Herbert above Giddens right now. Then you have at wide receiver Pittman Jr., Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, A.D. Mitchell in the back. I don't really mess with the other receivers. And then Tyler Warren at tight end. So that's kind of what the depth chart looks like there. Wow, it's crazy impressive, dude. Yeah, I know. I've enjoyed it. Again, I'm not saying it, by the way, to like make myself sound better than I am. I think there's a little bit of luck to this thing, right? But I just try to put myself into an educated way where when I draft my teams, I don't want to take $25 and light it on fire because I drafted like a fool, right? So, just as an example, I just quickly scan up here, like see if anybody's just going crazy. Like there's certain types of teams that they just won't work, right? When you take 2 elite quarterbacks back to back, it doesn't work. If you want to take both elite tight ends back to back, it doesn't work. If you want to start 4 running backs, it doesn't work. There's a lot of reasons why they don't work. Can they work? Technically, yes. Are they likely to work? Absolutely not. So I'm just trying to optimize my team and give myself the best chance to win. So. Yeah, man. Thank you. I appreciate it very, very much. And I don't expect every year that it's going to be that way where it's profitable, but if you play the long game and, I draft a lot of teams, this will be every year I've drafted more teams. So this year I anticipate drafting over 700 teams. I'm already over 400. And so, I feel like I've tried every strategy, drafted from every position multiple times. So it's kind of giving me, I feel very confident with what I'm trying to accomplish here, but hey, a lot can happen when it comes to football, right? Let me just queue up some guys here before I get caught. Just since we're standing here and everyone's like, hey, the obvious pick might be to go Caleb Johnson, right? I'm not a Caleb Johnson truther or a guy that, I don't hate him, but I think he should go a little bit later. And I am big on Jaylen Warren. He's one of my guys from a running back standpoint. So I think that I just don't like his value. And I don't even think he's going to be the running back 1. We'll take Jerry Jeudy. We're really not getting anything crazy falling to us. I think part of it could be the way underdog drafts are broken right now, meaning to say the lag might be causing people issues. And so a lot of teams are going to get, whatever's top of ADP. Do you believe in balanced portfolios? I don't, just saying I'm about 500, but slowing to a snail's pace. Yeah. So I do to a point. So I'm not going to force a balanced portfolio of every player. So I have certain player takes where I'll be overweight on some, and then I'll be underweight on others because I believe in the player or the value or the, where the ADP is. So kind of an example, I was talking about Marvin Harrison. I think his value for the type of player he could be and his upside is so high that I will be overweight Marvin Harrison. All right, hold on 1 second here. Oh, you know what? let's just go ahead and keep this train rolling with the wide receivers for a second here. But I'll be well overweight him, and I'm okay with it. Now I won't. There's a fine line there, right? 8% is average. If you're under 8% on a player, you're a little underweight. Typically, if you're a large, amount of drafter, and then if anything over 8% on your player takes is considered overweight. So I think right now I have like 17% Marvin Harrison. But when you draft a lot of teams, I think by nature, just the way the laws of averages work, I think you'll have some balanced exposures across. Like I probably drafted most of all of these players at one point or another because of where they've fallen. But like as another example of the reverse, like Juwan Jennings, I can't stand him. I think he's a terribly untalented player. He just happens to be in a good situation. He's injured again this year. I just don't think he's very good. And I think Ricky Pearsall is a year 2 receiver who's flashed. And I think he's going to be the absolute smash pick who goes a round or 2 later. And then I think you can get Ayuk later, who's going to come back healthy and can win you, weeks. Or maybe they'll bring in another receiver or trade for someone later. Like I just think Juwan Jennings is a terrible pick, but that's just me. Some people are like, oh, he's fantastic. But I'll let them die on that sword. Yeah, I appreciate it. I think for him, if you look at his profile, I like the way he profiles. His profile as a receiver for Marvin Harrison is one of the strongest profiles of a rookie coming out of the draft. And he underperformed last year, but it's not just solely his fault. And then he came back into camp. He put on a little bit of weight, a bunch of muscle this year. So he's going to be a little bit bigger. He's already one of the best route runners. And so if Kyler Murray's any better, if they stay healthy, I think they could build something. It's year 2. And if you compare him to a guy who's going in round 1 right now, which is Neighbors, who I also love, if their things were reversed, right, and they played differently last year, Neighbors would be going in the 3rd round, and maybe Marvin Harrison would going in the 1st. So I look at it that way, where his upside is huge. We have not seen him peak yet, and we're getting him in the 3rd round. So I just think there's the value there. I'm hoping this is kind of working. I feel like I've been refreshing, but I do feel like I don't know, maybe it's getting better. It does seem to be a little bit frustrating when stuff like this happens. Let me queue up some guys here. We're definitely feeling well ahead on wide receiver, so I don't feel bad here. Ideally, I can come out of this next couple picks with 1 running back and Kyler Murray to pair up with Marvin Harrison. But we'll see how it plays out. I feel like Aaron Jones won't be there because of the way the lag is. He's just going to get picked because someone's going to get stuck. And that would feel bad. Yeah, the lag's killing me. I mean, it's kind of frustrating. Yeah, I get it. I think I don't want to. I kept saying that I'm going to try and be consistent with my streaming and try and do this every night between 10 and midnight Central Time. And so if I'm going to commit to doing that, I really need to be honest with myself and try and actually be on. So even if I just stream 1 draft tonight, it's better than not streaming at all, so I can at least show up for everybody. And, I want people to know they can count on me, at least as best as I can. So, all right. We're going to get Kyler Murray, pair him up with Maserati Marv. And I think if all things being considered, if it wasn't for this lag, I really believe that Jaylen Warren would come back. But I just don't know what's going to happen because I think, people are going to get stuck with these stupid auto picks. We'll get back to talking about the Colts here in a second too. Anthony Richardson. So I am a little overweight on Anthony Richardson, and I'm happy to do it. And here's why. I want quarterbacks with I either want them at a value in the draft, meaning I'm not going to reach for them. I'll let them fall to me, which is generally speaking my strategy after you go through the elites. And then if I can get a quarterback with a rushing upside, and he has tremendous rushing upside, that, if I can get him in the 17th, 18th round as my quarterback 3, I mean, it's so low risk and so high reward that it just makes sense. And there's guys you can pair him with at that time, at that point in the draft too. All right. I feel like I'm not going to end up getting him, so I'm just going to I'm queuing up another running back just in case. All right, perfect. We're going to get ETN. That makes me feel better. It would feel better if I can click him. You know what I mean? Like my mouse wants to click. It's just not working. And yeah, if you throw a like or subscribe, hit the notification bell, you'll see me when I get on because it'll notify you as well. So hopefully that'll help. And you can join with me. I don't know if there's other people out there you like watching, draft teams and stuff live. I'll do a little countdown. I have no problem with it. Trying to get synced up so we can draft together. Be a good time. So going back to the Colts, Anthony Richardson, I'm in on. Daniel Jones, I might have him in one or two teams out of 400. Probably not drafting much of him. So Anthony Richardson, high reward, low risk. I have no problem taking him. I'll probably end up overweight him unless something crazy happens. In the off season. In training camp. Running back Jonathan Taylor, I like him. I'm not really getting much Giddens or Herbert. I'll throw him in just so I'm not completely out on him, but I like Jonathan Taylor where he goes. He's the kind of running back I like, kind of a workhorse back who's going to get a lot of touches on an offense that he's proven before he can be a running back 1 in this league. He actually crushed last year in the fantasy football playoffs. And so because he was great in weeks 15 and 16. And so I'm definitely okay with him. If I pull up real quick, I'm going to pull up some data and I'll just kind of share verbally since I'm having issues with screens. I don't want to take a chance that I'll get locked out. But last year in week 16, he was the number 1 running back. Week 17, he was the number 1 running back. So it was those two, he won people money. You know what I'm saying? If you had him on his team and you got yourself into the playoffs. So if he stays healthy, and he was ranked 12 overall for the season in running backs, and he didn't even play all the games and only an 80% snap share. So he's got the capability, he's got the upside, and that's the kind of player that I like. So I don't know if I'll be overweight on him just because of where he goes, and there's other guys I want to mix in, but I definitely like him. All right. What do we want to do here? Let's queue up some more guys that we're in on. Like to grab a running back here. They're saying he's day-to-day with a hamstring thing. I'm a little overweight Scatabo right now, so I'll probably just let him go. So we'll see which way we get or what we get here. I know. So close. All right, we're gonna get at least one of these running backs. I like Shaheed, but I've already got six wide receivers, so I have no problem just passing on him here. But I really do like Shaheed, just as a kind of a footnote to this conversation. Shaheed goes. All right, so we'll get Charbonnet. I do. Charbonnet's great. I think a lot of people look at running backs and they say, okay, who's the RB1, who's the RB2? There are teams with what I'll call the 1A, 1B style, and Seattle's one of those guys. And listen, Kenneth Walker doesn't stay healthy. And so this guy has found a way to make, produce points every year. So I definitely will have some Charbonnet, especially in those 0 RB build teams. Continuing to talk about the Colts. I mix in all of their receivers, Pittman, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs, even a sprinkle of AD Mitchell. I'm not overweight any of them, nor will I plan to be. I don't love their receivers, but because what I told you about Anthony Richardson, and I want to get him with one pass catcher, I'll just sprinkle the Colts in. I mean, they're not going to be a great offense, but if I need wide receivers on a team, I have no problem sprinkling him in. Minnesota Chargers, Jacksonville, don't really want that. So I'll kind of keep this rolling. It's very frustrating to do this refresh. All right, we're getting Tajay Spears. I like it. So he'll be our 4th running back. Feels good. I like the running back room. I really do. Quarterback's good. We've got him stacked with Marv. We've got a really nice receiver room. Running back room's good. And tight end's the position. Like if I'm going to fade anything, tight end's probably going to be it. Now, I don't normally fade it on purpose. It just, if it falls that way and the ADP falls that way, then I'm okay with it. Tight end for the Colts, just to finish them up, Tyler Warren, rookie. In training camp, they're showing a lot of videos of him just balling out, making highlight reel catches. Great draft capital in the first round this year. Draft capital does mean something if you ask streamers, and we'll call them other experts or whatever. I'll say they all say the same thing. The draft capital matters. So even though they're not in a great offense, so I'll get Tyler Warren. I'm actually underweight on him, and like I said, I'm not trying to purposely balance my exposures on everybody, but he's somebody that as I get through the month of August, I do plan to get more of him. And he might be the guy that I want to pair more of. So we'll see how that goes. You're over on Pierce, Warren, AR, Taylor, near 0, and anyone else. Yeah, I get it. Pierce is so low, and he's a wide receiver too, technically. And he had a decent year last year. And, like if I'm looking for a quarterback late in drafts or a late last minute stack, it's been so easy to grab Pierce and then grab Anthony Richardson, and the upside and it's so low risk and good reward there that it just makes sense. So I've been pretty happy to do that. All right, let me scroll this down, see if I can queue up a couple things here before I lose my place. And then, I do want to get to as the second quarterback at some point here. So there was an interview done, and I think I'm going to do that. I don't know. I like them both. There was an interview done, I think it was today, by James Conner on the Cardinals. And by the way, I'm not a Cardinals fan, so I know maybe this conversation maybe sound like I am or something, but I'm actually a Browns fan, so I know what it means to be loyal to a team who doesn't do well. But we'll actually take Ray Davis. But I say that because James Conner released a conversation or a comment saying, hey, we are both starting running backs on this team, meaning Trey Benson and he said Trey Benson will be getting a lot more time this year and, even more time than him, like almost insinuating he's going to be taking over this backfield. And when you look at where they're going in drafts, I'm underweight James Conner. I'm okay with that. And I'm going to be probably a little overweight on Trey Benson. And he came to camp similar to Marvin Harrison, where he was a little more jacked up, put on some weight and some muscle as well. So just love the fact that these guys came in fired up, and they want to be, they're going to be a long-term part of this offense. So especially if they don't even start out in the beginning of the season as the guy, he could be the guy in the fantasy football playoffs and completely take over the backfield. And I want guys like that on my team. I want guys that are going to win the league for me. Awesome. We're going to grab Tua. Worked out pretty good. So Tua pairs up with our man Tyreek Hill. So that feels pretty nice. Let's jump back over real quick to here. Let's go to the Jaguars for a second. So with the Jaguars, this is kind of a fun team to talk about this year. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback, running back Travis Etienne's the one, kind of splitting reps right now in camp with Tank Bigsby. And then Tootin is the 3. We'll talk about this. This is very controversial running back room, and I love the conversation here. Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, Diami Brown are the main big three wide receivers, with kind of Parker Washington being a guy that some guys get. And then Brenton Strange is pretty much being the only really relevant tight end on the team. So when we talk about them, so Trevor Lawrence, he's got some running ability. He's at more weapons this year. I like Trevor Lawrence. I do. I think he's a fine guy to get. Whenever I get Brian Thomas, I want to stack him. Whenever I get Travis Hunter, I want to stack him. So the issue I have is I don't get enough of those guys on my teams so that I don't end up getting enough Trevor Lawrence by proxy. So I've actually maybe wanting to take Trevor Lawrence and backstack him with his tight end, Brenton Strange, and guys like Parker Washington or Diami Brown. I think that's probably the better way I'm going to end up playing him, and maybe even with ETN on his team. So that could be a fun way, and a lot of teams will actually win more when you get the backstack than you do the primary. So I'm okay with that. Oh, you're over on Connor. Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to be over on Connor, and then I don't know. Something told me to slow down and not get crazy, and then the news started to come out, and I just felt like the value was so good. Yeah, the ADP is good on Benson. Absolutely. Do you know who YT streamer James Foster is? Oh, YouTube streamer James Foster. No, but I'll take a name down and I'll take a quick look and see. There's a bunch of streamers that I've listened to over time that kind of motivated me to even do this. All right, hold on one second. I'm sorry. It's funny. We basically completely punted tight end, and I don't normally punt it completely, but I think it's probably time for us to maybe grab somebody here at some point. Will probably be a good idea. I think we're just going to grab Zach Ertz. I think he'll stumble into the end zone on a pretty good offense and grab some points. So don't hate it at all. I'm going to be done at running back. 5 here with Saquon as an anchor is pretty good. And these are some great options. So I'm going to be done there. We could go another quarterback. We'll see how it plays out. We don't really have any stacking partners right now, but that doesn't mean we can't make something happen. So we'll see how that kind of works itself together. Definitely will be a 3 tight end build when you don't draft a tight end until late. Generally for me, tight ends, if I don't get one of the 3 what people consider elite tight ends, it's pretty much a guaranteed 3 tight end build for me. And if I get an elite tight end, it's a guaranteed 2 tight end build. It's just kind of my general rule of thumb. I think I'm going to head and do what I just talked about. Maybe it's like a sign I'm supposed to do this. If Anthony Richardson comes back for some reason, maybe it's a sign I was supposed to take Alec Pierce and supposed to take the Colts since we just talked about him. Foster evaluates college talent, very, very analytical, gives grades on many categories from 1 to 100. Nice. All right. I'll definitely take a look at that. So I think anybody who utilizes data to their advantage is definitely, it's the right way to go. You can use data and still have takes that go away from the data. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's a good starting point. So you're not making reckless decisions. You're at least trying to be intelligent, about the things you do. And as I get better with this streaming thing, I'll try and be more prepared and find ways where I can show you guys some of the data and stuff that I look at. So as we're talking about it, I can pull it up a little bit better. Going back to the Jaguars, so Trevor Lawrence, that's kind of my thing there. The wide receivers, I'm not overweight on any of them. I'm actually underweight on Brian Thomas right now. But I do like sprinkling in the other guys. Bretton Strange is a guy I'm underweight on, and I shouldn't be. He's going to get all the work. Trevor Lawrence likes his tight ends. He's young enough to still have a ceiling to find. I have no reason not to take him, and I haven't been taking him enough. Now, the running back room is where it's the most fun. There's guys out there that are like the Fantasy Life guys. If you don't know who they are, the Fantasy Life newsletter, they're like, I guess everybody's favorite people. But they're all in on Tootin, and then there's other people that are completely out on Byshell Tootin, or if I'm even saying his name correctly. So I'm not out on him, but I'm not overweight and in on him. I'm actually underweight. I think Tank Bigsby and ETN are actually going to continue to be the guys, at least for this year. I can see that changing with an injury or with poor performance, but I think they really want to go back to back and run it back with a 1A, 1B style. And in training camp right now, ETN and Tank are splitting the reps, and I'm underweight on Tank and I'm pretty average on ETN. So, let's do this. Grab Mason Taylor. That's 9. And then I'm going to go Arroyo or Chig, I think, here. I feel like the lag is going away. Like I haven't had to refresh in a while. Have you noticed that? Maybe I'm not crazy here, which that kind of feels good. Arroyo's a guy, so if you didn't know, they traded Noah Fant, and now he got signed with the Bengals. I'm not in on Noah Fant and wasn't before. I'm not going to be now. I'm actually just now going to slow down a little bit on Gesicki. That's really what it's going to make me do, is slow down on him. But Arroyo is going to go up, and he looks like a very athletic guy, a lot of talent, rookie. I like guys with upside. When you're drafting this late in drafts and they have upside, could be a starter on their team, that's where you need to take them. All right, we kind of have a luxury pick here. I think I'm just going to sprinkle in a wide receiver. That makes sense. We could double tap an Arizona or a Miami guy, and I think I might do that. I think I'm going to throw Westbrook Akine in here, and I'll get a double stack on Miami. And then we'll kind of be done and kind of recap this team. I believe you believe in math, just like me. Yeah. I mean, I played sports a lot when I was growing up, and so I played them all pretty much. I was actually more of a baseball guy when I was younger, but I don't know. So in real life, we'll say real life for work, I'm involved in business. So math is something that you got to be decent at if you want to be good in business. So it's something that I don't want to say I like it, but it comes a little easier to me than most. But I think that there's just so much value there that facts are facts, and things in life, sometimes people want to ignore the facts and they want to go by their opinions. And I think opinions are good, but when they're balanced with facts, it makes things a little bit more educated. Going back to the Jaguars real quick. So, just finishing up ETN, Bigsby. I'm going to get more Bigsby. I think that's the only balance that I want to have right now. And, if I die because I don't, draft more Tootin and he ends up being a great guy, then so be it. I'm not going crazy on trying to overcompensate on Tootin. And then the last team we'll talk about tonight is going to be the Tennessee Titans. Give me 1 second to make this pick. We'll review this team, and then I'll pull that one up. And we may get into one more draft. What time is it? If this lag's gone, which it feels like it is, I might do one more tonight. Yeah, absolutely. me just grab one thing. Just want to pull one thing up real quick. So the only thing that I don't like about what I did on this team, do I think this team could win $2 million? Sure. It's not a terrible team. I don't love this team, but I don't hate it. It's a very well-balanced team. It's the type of team that I like to draft. We do have our stacking partners that feels good. The only thing I don't like is I do like to have at least a little bit of bring back on with these guys. So like Arizona, I would like to have a Cincinnati player. I didn't get one. And then with Miami, I would have liked to have a bring back for them too. And I don't have any because Miami plays Tampa in week 17. And there are some articles, if you look it up, there's I think there's a video that says week 17 is all that matters. Go watch that video. And it's not for me, but it's a fantastic video. And it's something that I absolutely would highly recommend people understand why, because you want to look at, it's like a math thing, right? If you're drafting against, and in Best Ball Mania, we're trying to win $2 million. We're going up against 672,000 other teams. You want to go with the highest ceiling. So I want to stack my quarterback with my pass catchers. I want to have a week 17 bring back. So if that game goes off, I've got the players from those games. I'm looking for the highest ceiling I can to stand out. And so I had a question yesterday. We'll do one more. I had a question yesterday come in, and someone asked me, why is it that important, when you have these things? If I have Kyler Murray and I make it to the playoffs, or even the finals, and there's going to be probably, 150 other teams that needed Kyler Murray to get there to be successful. And if he goes off and is the guy you need, that means his pass catchers are going to come with him, and they probably have him. And if I didn't, then I'm at a huge disadvantage, right? So it definitely makes a ton of sense. No problem, Fantasy. Yeah, I don't take him regularly, but I did grab him here just for a piece. All right, we got number 6 pick. I'm so glad that I'm so glad that the lag kind of disappeared from Underdog. Looks like they got it together. Real quick, let me jump over while we're waiting. So Tennessee Titans will just hit this depth chart. Cam Ward is alone. Will Levis went on IR to get a season-ending shoulder surgery. These other guys are not going to play unless he gets hurt. So Cam Ward's in. Running back Pollard and Spears. Excuse me. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett, Van Jefferson. And then, it's kind of a mix-up here of whatever else you want to get. And then you've got Chig at tight end. It's kind of what the depth chart looks like. Let's see. Justin, it's funny. Lamb goes at 2. That's a little bit unique. I kind of just want to take the value here, right? Justin Jefferson at 6 feels disgusting and like in a good way. So I'm very, very happy. I love when you can get unique teams. And so people are starting to fade him a little bit because he had this little Achilles, thing. I shouldn't say little, but like he's going to be fine theoretically. And, he's one of my favorite wide receivers to draft. And so if I can get him where he was going most of the draft in pick 2 or 3, and now I can get him at 6, I can create some unique teams by doing this. So this is going to be fun. I'm going to see what kind of comes back to us and see if we can make a really cool, unique team here. And let's see if we can't win $2 million tonight. And if we do, this will be the video that gets all the shares in the world. And you guys will be here to live it out with us. So let's make $2 million happen. With the Tennessee Titans real quick. So Cam Ward, I'm in on him. He's so late. He has the rushing upside. Their offense stinks theoretically, but it can't be any worse than last year. So he can get better. He can make the offense better. He was a first pick overall in the draft. Draft capital matters. So I am getting a pretty good amount of Cam Ward, and I, generally speaking, only pair him with specific receivers. So with his receivers, I'm only getting Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett. That's it. Nobody else. And Chig, his tight end. I'm really big into Chig this year. He's round 18 tight end, not even drafted in 100% of leagues. In drafts on teams. And I think he has a chance to be a really, really nice value as a round 18 tight end. And so if I can pair him up late with Cam Ward, it feels pretty good. Let's see what comes around to us here. AJ Brown goes. So Derrick Henry's here. Ladd McConkey's here. We're going to get one of them. I'd love to get Derrick Henry here at 19. That would be really nice. And we will. So love this start. Justin Jefferson falls all the way to 6. Derrick Henry goes to 19. So when you hear about unique starts, this is what I'm talking about. Justin Jefferson normally goes, 1, 2, 3. Derrick Henry has been going in end of the first round, early second round. They never pair together very often. So this already is a very, very unique start. Very few teams will have Justin Jefferson and Derrick Henry on the same team. So this definitely has the makings of a $2 million team. So I'm excited about this. Very excited. Let's not screw this one up. And actually, earlier in the year, though, I will say, because right now Derrick Henry is getting pulled up. I have Derrick Henry. I've gotten him at between 18 and 20 a few times back in May. So it's not the only time I've gotten him here, but lately people like him a lot and they're pulling him. I've seen him going in the first round, which I get it, but I don't get it. All right. We're definitely going to take advantage of ADP. So we'll just take whatever comes to us here because we want to keep it as unique as we can. So we'll take Garrett Wilson as our second receiver. Not much value, just a couple picks past ADP. But when we get such a great deal here, we want to make sure we keep taking advantage of that ADP to make as unique of a team as we possibly can. So the chances of anyone having Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, and Garrett Wilson the same team is very, very slim. Now, you can get Wilson with Jefferson on the left side of the board, but you're not getting Henry with Wilson. He doesn't fall on the right side of the board very often, and you never get Henry and Jefferson together. So this 3-stack continues to be pretty unique. So this is very exciting. Loving it. Feels good. If you're enjoying this at all, I appreciate if you guys throw a like out there, subscribe to the channel. I try and go, if you just joined us, I try and draft live every night around 10 p.m. Central Time to midnight. We're drafting right here on Underdog Fantasy. It's my favorite place to draft. I've been doing drafts for years. These are best ball drafts, which means no time commitment during the regular season. You just draft your team and the best players play. No trades, no waiver wires, nothing. And that's how I'm able to draft hundreds of teams every year. I'm over 400 drafts already this year, and I will probably be over 700 by the time we get to, the regular season. All right, McMillan goes. Some of those elite quarterbacks are coming off. It's pretty normal. So one guy I won't be getting is Rashee Rice. I absolutely will be fading him. I kind of want to do – I don't want to get too cute. I think my preference here is going to be George Kittle. I don't have a lot of him. But he's a great pick here where he goes. Although Brees in the 4th isn't bad either. Waddle goes. I'm going to go ahead and get George Kittle. I haven't drafted a lot of him this year, and I think it's just because of what's been falling to me, and feels nice to get a piece of him here. All right, 8 picks away. We're probably, we want to focus in on wide receiver most likely here and make sure we stay ahead. But it kind of just depends on what falls our way. We want to take some value as well. Let me click back over for you. I was talking earlier about teams that are not ideal, and a rough example of that is, can certain types of rosters win? Yes, but does it make it harder? So I'm going to show you 2 teams who, what I would say is very suboptimal ways to do it. So Brett Favre here just went Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow at the 4 or 5 turn. This team's going to most likely light $25 on fire. You do not go 2 elite quarterbacks in early on in drafts. You just don't do it. You can only play one. Only one quarterback starts. This feels really good to get Devonta Smith here. So we started our draft. Derrick Henry at running back, Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith at wide receiver, and George Kittle as our tight end. Really like how this draft's starting. Let's hope we can keep this thing rolling, get some good quarterback correlations. Try and say that 3 times fast. But yeah, so don't do this. This is what not to do. The other guy that's going to be in trouble here is Order Taker. And the reason being is that you have to start 3 wide receivers every week, 4 if you use the flex as a wide receiver, if that's what you needed. And there's a big drop off at wide receiver after round 7. So he's now got to fight back at wide receiver to try and make sure he gets enough depth, which you can do that. I don't mind taking 2 running backs, but what I minded that he did was, if I was him, I would have skipped James Cook and I would have taken DK Metcalf. That's what I would have done differently. Diggs goes at 61. A little bit of run on running backs here. Kind of see some guys that I like. Depends on what we want to do. I don't hate RJ Harvey. I don't have a lot of him. And he actually goes. So, all right, we can double stack our Minnesota guys, or we can get Swift. I'm actually going to go ahead and get Swift, actually. With Swift, he's going to get all the work, I shouldn't say all the work. He should get most of the work. Pass catching running back on an offense that looks to be better. They want to pass more often. He's reunited with his offensive coordinator when he was in Detroit with Ben Johnson, who we know was pretty important on Detroit and turning that team around. So I'm excited to get him here. I think he can be a great pick here in the 6th round. He's a guy I have zero worries about clicking, as long as we don't get any bad training camp news that, he stubbed his toe or something. And I'm somewhat exaggerating when I say that. While we're waiting for this to come back around, just to kind of finish off in the Tennessee Titans, talked about Cam Ward, talked about the receivers, talked about Chig. The last thing I'll talk about is Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. I think I'd rather have Spears at cost. So I've got a pretty decent amount of Spears. I don't plan on having that much on Pollard. There's guys that I like better than Pollard where he goes. I don't have an issue with him at his cost, really, but I just think that I have him ranked lower. than where he's going. And so I don't get as much on Pollard. Not to mention, again, the Tennessee Titans offense is not going to be great. I think they're going to have to throw a lot more. And so, all right. There's a no-brainer pick here, and we got him. It is Matthew Golden. So the reason why I say he's no-brainer is he's a bring back to Baltimore with Derrick Henry because Green Bay and Baltimore play each other week 17. So that feels nice. And we get a little bit of correlation that way, which, by the way, did the same thing here with George Kittle and DeAndre Swift. Chicago and San Francisco play them week 17 as well. And so here, real quick, you see Pollard coming around. So when you look at what's going around Pollard, this is the tier break here for me for wide receivers. After Shakir, I think there's a break. And then, but like instead of Pollard, I'd rather have Aaron Jones. I'd rather have Brian Robinson Jr. So I'd like him better down here, but actually I'd like these guys even better. I like Warren and ETN even better. So I tend to not end up taking too much Pollard just because of who's around him. All right. 7 picks away. Definitely got a lot of running backs coming up. Just kind of scrolling down to kind of forecast out what might be available to us. Joe Mixon continues to fall. I've gotten him in pick 100 range, so I won't take him here at 91. But I don't have a problem taking him when it gets to the 100, roughly in the 100 range. Chris Godwin, we got a little bit of bad news on him. He's still not practicing. We found out that he had a second shoulder surgery in the offseason, so there's a little bit of, some people have some concern there with him. I'm going to go ahead and grab TJ Hawkinson here for our second tight end. When I have Kittle and now Hawkinson, I'm most likely going to stop at 2 tight ends, but we'll just see what the draft gives us. And now that we have both Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, we will shoot for grabbing JJ McCarthy a little bit later in these drafts and see if we can't pull him up. Okay. So we could do this. I don't want to scroll that far down really, but we're 6 picks away. Mooney, I'm not feeling great about his injury situation. These are kind of guys that I like here. I like Kelsey. He's my most drafted tight end, just because of where he goes at cost. JJ and King Henry, same team. Yeah, man. I was just talking about that before you jumped on. An absolutely crazy start. And this feels like the kind of team that can win us a bunch of money. So I'm kind of excited about it, to be honest. All right. Yeah, we're just going to take Brock Purdy, pair him up with George Kittle. So we have a stack there. We do have the week 17 bring back with DeAndre Swift. So we're really building that out nicely. So that feels nice. This team feels really well balanced so far. Feels really good. This is a very unique start to have these 3, or let alone these 4 on the same team, because they just don't go next to each other. So this has definitely got the potential to be a very unique team, and could win us a lot of money. So I'm very, very happy about it. Shamrock, hope you're having a good evening, sir. Although I say sir, I mean, you might not be a sir. I don't know. But hopefully your Saturday is going well. Mine was spent watching SummerSlam, WWE SummerSlam, and then did some stuff around the house. The wife had to go out and do some errands, so I was on kid duty for the first half of the day. We got 3 kids, all under 10. So that's why I do these drafts usually much later in the evenings, because kids are asleep, wife's asleep, she's an early sleeper, so it gives me a chance to, relax and calm down a little bit. All right. Did someone do what I think they did? Yeah. Where did he go? So this is what drives me nuts. Sly Guy Braden here grabbed JJ McCarthy for no reason. Like, this is the type of guy who's like, yeah, let me get McCarthy. I have nobody to stack him with, but yeah, let's take him. I mean, we'll work right around it because we're experienced enough to do that where we don't need him, but just kind of crazy that, they kind of screw stuff up. I'm actually going to take Ayuk here if he falls from 97 all the way to 115 and double stack him with Brock Purdy. That would be a disgusting. Nope, got sniped. Feels bad. I spoke that into existence, so that's my own fault right there. I'm going to go ahead and get Shaheed, actually. I don't like that Trey Harris is climbing. I was getting him much later in drafts. I don't think he has any business being quite as high as Shaheed. I think he probably belongs down here. Like, I liked him clicking him down here with Kirk, Marvin Mims, Hollywood, Kyle Williams. Like, I liked him down here. So I'm not a big fan of where he's going. All right, what can we do here? What can we do? You know what? I see exactly what we can do. I think this is what I want to do. If I get him to pair up with Matthew Golden, that'll give us a bring back with our Baltimore Derrick Henry here. And that'll feel like a really nice combination. If we don't get him, we're going to have to find a way to set up something because we're running out of pass catchers to stack with. But we could always do some backdoor stacking too. So let's hope we don't get sniped and we get our man Jordan Love, who, by the way, if you don't know who won Best Ball Mania 5 last year, he had Jordan Love in his team, and Jordan Love was the guy you needed. So maybe he'll go back-to-back. And we get sniped again. Oh, they're trying to take $2 million from us. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take Caleb Williams here. We do have Swift, who is a pass catcher. And then we have ways to make this work. We have ways to make this work. I don't have a lot of ways, but we have ways. I'm probably going to turn this into a 3-quarterback build because I don't need three tight ends now. Excuse me. So we'll end up turning into a 3-quarterback build. And maybe Caleb Williams is enough to get us through, the regular season. Because if we just take a quick look at the Bears, DJ Moore, Rome, and Luther Burden are already gone. So, I mean, who am I going to get? Olamide? No. Devin Duvernay? No. It's not worth it, and Loveland's already gone. So we won't have anybody else added to the team from Chicago's standpoint, and that's okay. I'm a little bit upset about a couple of these snipes, though. A couple of them could have been really, really nice. But we got to take it in stride, and we got to roll forward. I feel like we need to there's an option. I actually like Jonathan better. Oh boy. You know what? All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Javonte and see what comes back around. With Javonte, good offense theoretically in Dallas. He's been known to be a pass catcher. Maybe he comes back, bounces back as a good guy, and ends up being a great pick on a very high-powered offense. That's the hope when we draft him here. Shamrock says, do you think Bowers will get some regression this year with Gentry, these rookie wide receivers? I'm wondering this because Devontae left midway through the season last year, which maybe helped him pop off. It does make me think that way, that's possible. I do think they're going to be a team that has to play from behind a lot. But I think that they're going to want to feature him still because he is that talented, kind of like, Kyler Murray, even though he got a shiny new wide receiver in Marvin Harrison last year, Trey McBride was still awesome. And in an offense that's going to play from behind, I think they can still make it work. He'll still be a good pick there. So I'm still getting him. I think I'm at like 8% right at average with where I'm getting him. I'm not reaching to take him, but like where he goes in drafts, like I won't take him here at 15. There's plenty of guys I like here, but I've gotten Brock Bowers. Like if I get him at, 20 through 24, I'll take him. If I don't, like what's sitting on the board. Actually, I have a team where I got Jamar Chase and Brock Bowers in the same team, and that's pretty rare. So, but yeah, so I wouldn't fade him. That's for sure. I think he's too talented to do that. And it's a position where there's a little bit of rarity to get guys like that. All right. Bigsby goes. Let's see. A couple things we could do here. I got so much Najee. I think I'd rather try Garendo. But there's other guys I like coming back. You know what? I'm going to pass on him. I'm going to get Tillman. Tillman's a 6'3" wide receiver who showed potential last year. I know a lot about him because I'm a Browns fan. He's going to be our number 2 as long as he's healthy. And I think he's going to surprise some people. He's got the kind of profile, and don't freak out when I say this and think I'm crazy, but he's got the kind of profile of like when Puka was going in round 18 and they're like, who's this guy? Well, if they've got to play from behind and they're going to, be throwing a lot because they're playing from behind, he's the number 2 on an offense that needs to throw. And if he's any good at all, then he's going to well outperform where he's being drafted. So I plan on being overweight Tillman intentionally. He's a guy I really, really like here. All right. So I think the best thing to do now is going to be, let me see how this is going to work. I'm looking at something here. 74, 187. So I'm trying to make some executive decisions on what I want to do. I want to take a chance here. One of these is definitely going to be a running back, but I think I have a plan. And I guess it's always better to go into drafts with a plan. By the way, similar to my conversation earlier about Trey Benson being like a 1A, 1B, and like James Conner talking up how he's going to be maybe even the more long-term starter. Braylon Allen's kind of showing that way in camp. All right, so I was 100% going to actually try and grab Richardson on the next pick, and this guy grabs him. The Scotty guy sniped me twice, and it's driving me nuts. But I'm going to go ahead and grab Jalen Wright. Let's just look at Scotty's team and see what he's done here. Justin Fields, he took as a quarterback, stacks with nobody. Bryce Young, he took as a quarterback, stacks with nobody. Anthony Richardson on his team, stacks with, you guessed it, nobody. Can this team win for him? Sure. Is it likely to win? No. All he did was frustrate me a little bit with his poor decision making. So that kind of feels bad. Tillman had a couple of spike games last year, I remember. Yeah, he did. I mean, he showed up and he's got some attitude. Like he almost got into a fist fight with with a couple of guys on the field just because he's a very fiery player. So that's a lot of fun. I do feel like I need to. I don't need to get a third quarterback, but I don't know. There's something in me that makes me feel like I should. But I guess I don't really need to. Feel pretty balanced on how this team has played out so far. Man, oh man. Rico Dowdle. I'm going to grab a guy I don't get a lot of, I think. I think I'm going to get Wandale here. Nope, I won't because he just went. It's like they know. Well, it's like they're in the draft with me or something, and it's like they know what I'm saying, and what I want to do before I do it, which is kind of disgusting. Take Dante Thornton. He's getting a lot of steam. He's a 4.3 40 kind of guy, very fast, twitchy receiver, rookie. You know, I like to throw some rookies in. Could be a fun play. I feel really balanced with how this team has played out. We'll see if we can't finish this off. We have 3 more picks to make. See if we can't just kind of complete this here. Hey, man, traded down from the 9th spot to the 12th spot in a 14-man league because I like the combo of CMC Henry late first and A.J. Brown London early second. Do you think A.J. Brown and London are a tier above Ladd, JSN, Hill? So, yes, I think that I have London ranked better than A.J. Brown, but not by a lot. I have it depends on if it's a PPR or not, but I have CMC as the better running back out of the two between Henry and CMC. So, like, I don't think CMC should be there at the 12th spot in your draft. But if you did, going CMC London or, Henry London, any of those I think would be fine. If it's a PPR draft, I typically want to find running backs that are pass catchers more than what Henry is. But I don't mind Ladd at all, but I do think there's more target competition and their offense is more of a run-first offense, so his ceiling, to me, feels limited. And then Tyreek Hill and JSN, I love both guys. I don't think there's anything wrong grabbing them, but I wouldn't get them that early in the turn. That's just me. I think there's a little more risk there. What are we doing? I guess this feels like a Will Shipley moment. All right, 2 more picks. I think we're probably going to end up with a 2-6-8-2 build, which so San Fran, there are a bunch of injuries. We could. Gosh, it would be so ugly to grab him as a double stack. I don't know that I can bring myself to make that pick. Chicago, we know there's nobody there that I'm going to want, so I don't know that I'm going to do that, actually. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. I feel good about the running back room. I feel really good about the receiver room, too, actually. I just really like this team. You know what? We're going to grab Tyler Shuck, actually. Third quarterback, pairs with Rashid Shaheed. maybe it's a little bit of an extra push through the playoffs, right? Through the regular season, get into the playoffs. Doesn't feel bad. We're kind of luxury picking right now, and that's kind of how I want to do it. So now we can either go 6 running back or an 8th wide receiver. But I feel great at either way. I don't think there's anything I can do. What do you guys think? With this team, would you go a 6th running back or an 8th wide receiver? I'll let you guys comment if you can below before I draft. I feel like I can go either way on it. I'll just throw up some names of both that, I think I could be in on. Let's just keep looking. Lock it. One second. Look at one thing. I saw a video today of Deontay Johnson like triple cutting and faking a guy out of his boots, which is kind of funny to me. I'm just clicking some guys that I like in these rounds. Yeah, I said Austin and Lockett are really solid. Yeah, I feel I've taken a bunch of them in the 18th round. They're going to get playing time. They're going to be on the field. All they got to do is stumble in the end zone a couple times in the year and, help us in 1 week and have some value. I just don't know if I feel like I need the running back more. Like, what's more risky, right? Or do I need the wide receiver more? 1, 2, 3, 4. I kind of feel like I actually need the running back more. I feel better about my wide receiver room, I think. Yeah, I actually think I'm going to go running back instead if Kareem Hunt falls. If Kareem Hunt does not fall, actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to actually go Kendry Miller. He kind of double stacks with them. If he's a pass catcher, I don't mind getting an extra running back there. So click through this. So let's kind of recap this team. We've got a 3-6-7-2 build. I don't get a lot of 6 running back teams just because I like to put it into the wide receiver room more. We got Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, Tyler Shuck at quarterback. Running back, we have Derrick Henry, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams, Jalen Wright, Will Shipley, Kendry Miller. Wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, Matthew Golden, Rashid Shaheed, Cedric Tillman, Donta Thornton, and then George Kittle and TJ Hawkinson at tight end. We did stack George Kittle with Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams. The only stack we have is DeAndre Swift. And then Shuck, we have him with Kendry Miller and Rashid Shaheed. We did get sniped a bunch, and what could have really made this team even better with some of those snipes we had, it really, it's a little bit frustrating, but maybe it's a sign that I was supposed to get sniped because that's not who I needed, right? So, maybe it'll work out for the best. And then we do have some bringbacks, right? San Francisco and Chicago play each other in week 17. So if that game goes off, there's some guys here that play and correlate each other. So that's kind of nice. So some decent correlation. So I think it worked out pretty good. All right. I think that's going to be it for tonight. If you guys appreciate it, if you guys throw a like down there, it does help more than you know. To keep this stream from to keep growing, keep me doing this. Share my stream with friends, whoever you can. Let's try and grow the channel together. I would really, really appreciate it. And I should be on tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Sunday. I don't think there's any reason why I won't be on Sunday night either. So looking forward to hanging out with you guys and drafting tomorrow night. And hopefully you guys have a good Sunday. If any of you are watching SummerSlam, tomorrow night, we can talk about it as well, because I'll definitely be watching that as well. So thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate it. And you guys have a great Saturday evening.